Good morning, friends. We are learning our subject Machine Learning 3170724. And in that, we are learning the module 5, that is Overview of Probability. So, what today we want to learn is Bayes rule. Okay. In last lecture, we have talked of the conditional probability, and that is, say, what we used to say is P of B by A, right? That is what we have talked of, and we have seen one example too, right? So now we want to know about the Bayes rule. What is that? The Bayes rule, also known as Bayes theorem, can be derived by combining the definition of conditional probability with the product and some rules. How we can see that? Let us see. P of A by P, that is equal to P of B by A into P of A divided by P of B, right? We know this theorem, that is Bayes rule, where we used to say if here we are having A by B, here we are having B by A, and the way we are having here, that is A by B. So here you can say we'll be having P of A here and divide by B. So P of B, right? Okay. So P of A is equal to A divide by P is equal to B. We want to have the value, that is A is A and B is equal to B. So for that, what we can write is P of A is equal to B, A is equal to A, comma, B is equal to B upon P of B is equal to B, right? This is what we want to have. So that is equal to P of A is equal to A, P of B is equal to B, A divide by A is equal to A. Now what is this? Divide by, it is not actually divide by. Typically we used to say B event occurs based on A event has occurred. So we can say when A event where A is equal to small a value occurred, based on that, this B is equal to B event will occur, right? So typically we used to say it as A by B. So I am saying it is B is equal to B divided by, it is not divided by, but typically we used to say this way only, right? We can say that B is equal to B based on event A is equal to A, right? Sigma A, probability of A is equal to A, probability of B is equal to B based on the condition, that is A is equal to A. Now, what is that? Is it A? It is A dot, right? It is A dot, right? Let us see the Bayes rule illustration. See, this equation is already known to us, isn't it? This is the Bayes equation, Bayes rule, right? And whatever value we are putting, we will be taking it this way, isn't it? If we are having AI, BI that way, then we can be taking it as summation. What we can say is, it is the conditional probability with the product and some rules, isn't it? So let us consider the illustration. Flagging an email as spam based on the sender name of the email. See, we used to say that spam emails are there, right? Which are actually of no use, or you can say that they are useless. Actually, for us, they are useless, but people who are sending for them, they are useful. In the way that we can say that some advertisement is there or anything other than that is there. So they want to get information from us. Such type of emails are also there, isn't it? So what do we want is flagging an email as spam based on the sender name of the email. What we want is from the sender name, we want to make it spam. Okay. So see when we want to uh, somebody's email spam, we can use this feature, right? Okay. So what is that? Let's take an example to identify the probability of an email to be really spam based on the name of the sender. We often receive email from mail ID containing junk characters or words such as bulk, mass, etc., which turn out to be a spam mail. So we want our machine learning agent to flag the spam emails for us so that we can easily delete them, right? Let us also assume that we have knowledge about the reliability of the assumption that emails with sender names, say mass and bulk, our spam email is 80%. Meaning if some email has sender name with mass or bulk, then the email will be spam with the probability 0.8. This is just assumption. Okay. Typically, we used to say that names are like we can say Ami, Om, Sumit, right? Shivam, something like these are the names. That's it. Okay. So here, this is the that the names mass and bulk, if they are the senders, then the probability of that is 80%, or we can say it is 0.8. The probability of false alarm is percentage, meaning that the agent will show the positive result as spam even if the email is not a spam with a probability 0.1. What we want to say is the probability of false alarm is 10%. It gives that the email is spam. How can we say that? We have already said the sender is this one, right? But we say that false alarm. Falsely, it is giving us that this is the spam email. For that, we are saying it is 10%. Okay. So what does that mean? That the agent will show the positive result as spam even if the email is not a spam with a probability 0.1. Also, we have a prior knowledge that only 0.4 percentage of the total emails received are spam. See, the example is given very nicely. That is, we can say mass and bulk, they are the senders. If they are the senders, we should consider them as the spam email. Okay. For that, the probability given is 80%. That means what? That 80% or you can say 0.8 is the probability that we'll be getting the bulk mails. Bulk mails? No, spam mails, right? Bulk is the sender name. Okay. Then what do we want to say is false alarm. That means actually they are not spam, but our agent or our program has detected them as positive, right? So that probability is 0.1. And we have prior knowledge that only 0.4 percentage of the total emails received are spam, right? This is what is given to us. Now let X be the event of the flag being set as spam because the sender name has the words mass or bulk, and Y to be the event of some mail really being spam. So P of X is equal to 1. based on y is equal to 1, that is equal to times 8, which is the probability of the flag being positive if the email is spam. That is what we have already checked, right? 0.8 is the probability, right? So that's what we have put here. So what we are saying is, which is the probability of the flag being positive if the email is spam. Many times, this probability is wrongly treated as the probability email being spam if the flag is false. But that is not true because we will then ignore the prior knowledge that only 0.4 of the emails are actually spam. Also, there can be false alarm in 10% of cases. So, what do we say? That is y is equal to 1 and that is equal to what we say is 0.004, right? 0.004. And y is equal to 0. That is equal to 1 minus probability of y is equal to 1. And that is, you can say 1 minus this 0.004 and that comes out to be 0.996. So what we can say is probability of x is equal to 1 based on y is equal to 0 is 0.1. Fine. Now here, combining these rules, using the Bayes rule, we can compute the correct answer. That is over here, what we say is P of y is equal to 1 based on x is equal to 1. So what we are taking for that, P of x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, that is based on y is equal to 1, then P of y is equal to 1 divide by probability of x is equal to 1 based on y is equal to 1, P of y is equal to 1 plus P of x is equal to 1 based on y is equal to 0 and P of y is equal to 0. Fine. So we are putting the values and getting it as 0.031. Fine. It means that if we combine our prior knowledge with the actual test results, then there is only about a 0.031, that is 3% chance of emails actually being spam if the sender name contains the terms bulk or mass. This is significantly lower than the earlier assumption of 80% and thus calls for additional checks before someone starts deleting such emails based on only this flag. Okay. Now next is what we want to learn is random variables. So what are they? Let us take example of tossing a coin once. We can associate random variable x and y such that x of h. What we used to say is h means head. X of h is equal to 1, comma x of t is equal to 0. Which means this variable is associated with the outcome of the coin being facing head. Okay, what do we mean to say is x of h is equal to 1. That means we are having head and x of t is equal to 0. That means we are considering tail is not there, right? We are having head is there. If we consider y of h is equal to 0, that means what? Head is 0 means head is not there. And y of t is equal to 1, that means tail is there, right? So, which means this variable is associated with the outcome of the coin facing tails. Here in the sample space S, which is the outcome related to tossing the coin once, random variables represent the single valued real function, that is, we can say x of tau, that assigns a real number called its value to each sample point of S. A random variable is not a variable, but it is a function. Here we have considered that single valued real function, right? So random variable is not a variable, but it is a function. The sample space S is called the domain of random variable X, and the collection of all the numbers, that is the values of x2, is termed as the range of the random variable. The way typically we used to say about any function, that is we are having the domain and range. So sample space, if we are saying that sample space is called the domain of random variable, and collection of all numbers, that is values. Typically, we used to say that f of x is equal to x. That means f of 1 is equal to 1, right? So, sample space is what? It is the domain, and whatever are the values, they are called the range of random variable, because random variable is not a variable, but it is a function. Now, we can define the event x is equal to x, where x is a fixed real number, as x is equal to x. So, how we can say is, for tau, what we say is x of tau is equal to x. Accordingly, we can define the events for fixed numbers, say x, x1, x2. How we can say that x is less than or equal to x, that means x of tau is less than or equal to x, right? What we want to say is x of tau, that is our function we want to say, then that is that is less than or equal to x. The way the condition is given here, the same way the condition is there at the right hand side also. Okay, x is greater than x. That means what? We are saying this x is random variable, isn't it? So that we can write in the form of function as x of tau is greater than x. Now, x1 is less than x, is less than or equal to x2. That means what? x1 is less than x of tau is less than or equal to x2, right? Only thing what we have done is the random variable, what we are saying is x, we are replacing that with the equivalent function, right? The probabilities of these events are denoted by P of x is equal to x. That means what? X of tau is equal to x. If we say probability of x is less than or equal to x, you can see that. See, I am speaking it as x is less than or equal to x, but you can definitely see that x is random variable. That is, you can say random variable, and this small x, capital X and small x, right? Small x is for what? It is for the value, isn't it? It is there for the value. So x is less than or equal to x. Now what we can do is this random variable will be replaced with the x of tau, right? X of tau. What is that? That is the function. Less than or equal to x. Same way for probability of x greater than small x, that is equal to probability of x of tau greater than x. Probability of x1 is less than x is less than or equal to x2. Then we can say probability of x1 less than x of tau less than or equal to x2, right? So what we say for the random variables, we will use the term CDF. Denote the distribution function or cumulative distribution function. CDF, cumulative distribution function, which takes the form of random variable S. How it is taking CDF, cumulative distribution function. How it considered that? It is as fx of x. This is the subscript, isn't it? We can see that it is subscript. So fx of x, that is equal to probability of x less than or equal to x. What we can say for the x? We can say it is negative infinity less than x is less than infinity. Getting things? We are having the limits given. They are negative infinity to positive infinity. What is this called? It is called as cumulative distribution function, that is CDF. See, you will be given some examples where you need to find the CDF, or you can say that whatever is the function given, you have to draw the curve that is for CDF, right? So we should know about this. Some of the important properties of f of x. X is subscript and this is x, right? Okay. So R 0 is less than or equal to fx of x less than or equal to 1. For the function, we are saying that, or you can say for this probability, what we can say is this 0 is less than or equal to fx of x is less than or equal to 1, right? fx of x1 is less than or equal to fx of x2 if x1 is less than x2. Limit n tend to infinity. F of x that is equal to fx of infinity and that is equal to 1, right? When we are having say n tends to infinity, it is already known to us that we'll be having the limit of that as 1, right? In maths, this we have already studied, right? That is only the thing here. Then if we are saying that limit n tends to negative infinity, this is negative, okay? Though it is not seen, please consider it as negative infinity. Fx of x that is equal to fx of negative infinity and that is equal to 0, right? When it is at the negative infinity side, we can say the value of this limit is 0. When it is to the positive side, we can say it is equal to 1, fine? Discrete random variables. Let us extend the concept of binary events by defining a discrete random variable x. Let x be a random variable with CDF. What is CDF? Cumulative distribution function, right? Fx of x, and it changes values only in jumps. That means a countable number of them and remains constant between the jumps. Then it is called the discrete random variable. What we want to say is that let x be a random variable with CDF, fx of x, and changes value only in jumps. Like, let me show you. Yeah, this way. Okay. You can say that here it is having, say, constant value. Then after it jumps. And then after it is again having constant value. Again jump. Then after again having constant value. Jump. Again the constant value, right? This type of thing we want to say. And what is it called? It is called a discrete random variable, right? You can see that very easily. Fine. Here we do not consider. We say that from this 0 to 1, it is having the value that is 0.2. Then after it jumps and then it is having the value. What is that? That is, we can say it is this from 1 to 2, right? From this 1 to 2, it is having the value something like 0.5, right? Almost in between it is there. So we can say it is 0.5, right? Same way again jumps. Here it is having almost 0.7, right? Here again, then we can say here it is almost 1, right? Here, no, here it is fine. Here almost 1 is there, right? So this way it jumps. And that is called what? It is called the discrete random variable. So the definition of a discrete random variable is that its range or the set X contains a finite or countably infinite number of points. For discrete random variable, we are having finite or countably infinite number of points, right? Let us consider that the germs of fx of x, this is subscript, okay? Fx of x of the discrete random variable x is occurring at points x1, x2, x3, where this sequence represents a finite or countably infinite set and xi is less than xj if I is less than j. Right? Then we can say fx of xi minus fx of xi minus 1, that is equal to probability of x less than or equal to xi minus probability of x is less than or equal to xi minus 1, and that is equal to probability of x is equal to xi, right? This is what is given. See, only thing what we have done is fx of xi. That means we have given x is less than or equal to xi because it is given here, right? This is given to us, right? So what we are saying is x is less than or equal to xi. Then here we are giving x is less than or equal to xi minus 1, right? So what remains? It remains that is equal to px is equal to xi, right? We can denote this through the notation as probability of x, that is equal to probability of capital X is equal to x. The probability of the event that x is equal to small x is denoted as p of x is equal to x, or just p of x for short. P is called a probability mass function. What we want to say is probability of event x is equal to small is denoted as what? That is small p x is x, or just p of x. Small, right? Till now we are considering capital P, is it? Now what we are saying is small p. So what is it called? It is called the probability mass function. Let us see further. This satisfies. What satisfies? Probability mass function, right? See, here we haven't given the definition. Only thing is we are saying that the small p letter, we are saying it as the probability mass function. Okay. This satisfies the properties 0 is less than or equal to px is less than or equal to 1. Because we used to say that probability always lies between 0 and 1. Right? and sigma x. P of x, we want to say that summation of all the probabilities is always equal to 1, isn't it? That is known to us. The cumulative distribution function, CDF, fx of x of a discrete random variable. X can be denoted as x of x. That is equal to probability x is less than or equal to x. That is equal to sigma x belongs to x, p of x. Right? We are summing it up. This is in general, right? This is in general. That is x is less than or equal to small x. What does it mean? For all the values? For all the values x, we consider x is less than or equal to this small x. Right? So now, what is given here? This is fx of x, right? This is fx of x. Okay. Now let us consider this is x, isn't it? This is small x. Discrete random variable x. Random variable is not a variable, but it is a function, right? That is known to us. Okay. Random variable x with CDF, cumulative distribution function, right? Cumulative distribution function. Okay. So fx of x, that is equal to probability. X is less than or equal to x, or x is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Okay. I can we write? We can write if we are having some value here, isn't it? Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fx of x has jumps at x is equal to 0. Here we can say at x is equal to 1. Then at x is equal to 2. Then we can say x is equal to 3. And at x is equal to 2. Right? So what do we say? That the PMF, what is PMF? Probability mass function is defined on a finite state. Space x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. That is domain. That shows a uniform distribution with probability of x that is equal to 1 by 2. This distribution means that x is always equal to the value. In other words, it is a constant. If we are saying that P of x is equal to 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2, right? Then we can say it is having the constant value. Fine, it is having the constant value. Here we haven't put it. Here we are showing it that Px is equal to 1 by 2. That means what? That means it is the constant, right? 1 by 2. This is understood that it is 1 by 2. That means it is a constant, isn't it? Suppose x is a discrete random variable with r 0, 1, 2. We can prove that what we can prove? That is, we can say sigma x, what we say is sigma k is equal to 0 to infinity, probability of x greater than k, right? X is greater than k. Okay, from the above equation, what we can say is P of x is greater than 0. So that is equal to Px of 1, 2, 3, 4, dot, dot, dot. P of x is greater than 1. That is equal to Px of 2, 3, 4. That way, P of x greater than 2, that is equal to P of Px of 3 plus 4 plus 5, that way, isn't it? So if we are saying that sigma k is equal to 0 to infinity, what we are saying it as p of x greater than k. So what we'll be having is p of x greater than 0 plus p of x greater than 1 plus p of x greater than 2 plus. That means what? Px of 1. From this we can say px of 1. Then after we can say 2px of 2. Then 3px of 3 plus 4px of 4. Right? And this way we can say it is sigma x. Right? We can say that discrete random variables. That's what we are learning, isn't it? A uniform distribution on within the set 1, 2, 3, 4, where p of x is equal to k and that is equal to 1 by 2. So what we can say that for x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. For this one, we are having the value that is 1 by 2, that is 0.5. For 2, we are having the value that is 0.5. For 3, we are having the value that is 0.5. For 4 also, we are having the value 1 by 2, that is 0.5. And what we say about that, it is uniform distribution within the set 1, 2, 3, 4. See, we may be having any other value, so we are not saying about that. We are saying it is having the uniform distribution within this set, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and where we have said that p of x is equal to k and that the value is 1 by 2. So here at the 1 by 2, that is 0.5, this ends, right? This bar ends. So next is what we want to learn is continuous random variable. Till now, what we have learned first was random variable, then we have considered the discrete random variable. Discrete random variable is where we are having the jump like this, isn't it? Now, what we want to know is continuous random variables. Most of the real life events are continuous in nature. Okay, most of the real life events are continuous in nature. As for example, if we have to measure the actual time taken to finish an activity, then there can be an infinite number of possible ways to complete the activity, and thus the measurement is continuous and not discrete, is not similar to the discrete event of rolling a dice or flipping a coin. What we are saying that if we want to measure the actual time taken to finish any activity, there can be an infinite number of possible ways to complete the activity, and thus the measurement is continuous and not discrete, as it is not similar to discrete event of rolling dice or flipping a coin, right? Here the function fx of x describing the event is continuous and also has a derivative dfx of x upon dx that exists and is piecewise continuous. Piecewise only it is continuous, right? Piecewise, you can say if you are breaking in some parts, then few pieces, that is piecewise, it is continuous, right? The probability density function. We have seen this before? No. We have seen CDF, that was cumulative distribution function, right? And then after we have seen, what was that? That was PMF, right? PMF was what? Probability of mass function, isn't it? Probability mass function, isn't it? Now what we want to learn is what? This is probability density function, that is PDF. It is not our Acrobat Reader PDF file, right? It is probability density function of the continuous random variable x is defined as fx of s, that is equal to d fx of x upon dx. That means what? Probability density function is the derivative of fx of x, right? Derivative of fx of x. So what we can say is fx of x is equal to d fx of x upon dx, right? So that is what is PDF. So anytime if the function is given and you are told to find the PDF, what we have to do is we have to take the derivative of that function. Now, let us learn how to extend probability to reason about uncertain continuous quantities. The probability that x lies in any interval a is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to b can be computed as how? Let us see. We can define the events a is equal to small x is less than or equal to a, capital B event as x is less than or equal to b, and w, that is a is less than x is less than or equal to b, right? What we want to do is we want to extend probability to reason about uncertain continuous quantities, right? What we have said is a is the event where we say x value is less than or equal to a. For b, x is less than or equal to small b, and w, for that we can say a is less than x is less than or equal to b, right? Now we have what? B is equal to A union W. We have B is equal to A union W. And since A and W are mutually exclusive, it is given, okay? They are mutually exclusive. As here no particular event are given, we can say it is mutually exclusive. Can we say that? From the value, can we say that? See, here it is not given like whether we are flipping the coin or we are doing anything else. So we may not be able to think of the values, right? But the values are already given here. That is, x is less than or equal to a. So it will be having the values which are a or less than that of A. Here this is W. For W it is said as having the value that is between A. Is it including A? No, it is not. A is excluded. X is less than or equal to B. Right? So this A and W, they are mutually exclusive. They do not have any value in common. Right? Okay. So what we say is that B is equal to A union W. We can see that B is what? That is, it is A union W, right? It is having this value. Here it is that, fine? Okay, so let us say that since A and W are mutually exclusive, according to the sum rules, P of B is equal to P of A plus P of W. Why only P of B? Because here we have considered B is equal to A union W, right? Now what we do here, that is we can say P of B is equal to P of A plus P of W. If this A and W are not mutually exclusive, then we could have written it as P of A plus P of W minus P of A intersection W, right? This is what we used to have till now. But as these two events are mutually exclusive, we are discarding that negative, that is minus P of A union, no, P of A intersection W, right? Okay. So hence, what we say is PW, that is this one. Let us take this term this side. So we can say that will be P of B minus P of A. Okay. This is the rule. From that, what we are doing is We want to have the PW, right, at the left hand side. So what we are doing is we are moving it to other side. This P of A, we are moving it to other side. So we are getting it as P of W, that is equal to P of B minus P of A. Okay. So define the function f of q is equal to P, x is less than or equal to q, the cumulative distribution function, that is CDF of random variable x can be obtained by fx of x, P x is less than or equal to x, that is equal to integration of negative infinity to x fx, that is f of x dx, right? Which is monotonically increasing function. Using this notation, we have P of A is less than X is less than or equal to B. That is equal to P of B minus, sorry, F of B minus F of A. Okay. So that's all for today.